Hi, it's Jacqueline. I'm back with my next video. I am sorry that it has been so long. It was definitely a eventful summer, which I want to catch everyone up with everything that's been going on with me. And then I want to go over some things as far as masks, vaccines, and treatments. So to get started, I left off, I think in May, and ironically, I think right after that time, I do believe that I had another COVID infection. Basically, it came on really gradually. I started just to feel really tired. I thought that possibly I was having a relapse with EBV. We had been very, very busy. My husband's family was just in town. We had done a lot. So it first started out with me just being really tired. And then a few days I woke up and I had a pretty bad stomach ache, just crampy, just wasn't really feeling well. I didn't have any red flags at that moment to think I had COVID, but then a few days later, I got this metallic taste in my mouth, which was sort of the, I guess, red flag alert that it was probably COVID. I did test, I tested negative, but you know, those tests are so hit or miss. Sometimes they have been very reliable for my family and other times they have been a complete waste. I believe I got it probably from my son. He was dealing with a pink eye around that same time, which can be an indication of COVID. So this was like right after I made that video. So let's say like end of May, early June-ish. I had plans to go to Tijuana already to get stem cells as part of my maintenance program. But at that time, I just followed the FLCC protocol. I did have those medications on hand. So I did that and I didn't do Paxlovid this time. I didn't really feel completely comfortable getting Paxlovid without a confirmation test. I didn't even know if my doctor would give it to me. I'm sure I could have found a way to get it, but I just did the FLCC protocol. You can go online and follow them. They have exposure and early treatment and vaccine injury. They have all kinds of different protocols. So anyway, I did go to Tijuana shortly after the acute infection. I did get stem cells while I was there. And then when I got back, it was a little bit of just a weird time for me. I don't really know if I was suffering after effects from the acute infection, if I was having reactions and just hercs and the typical fatigue that I get after stem cells. But I would say June was a little bit up and down for me. I definitely felt really quite tired for several days, like really, really fatigued, which may have been from the stem cells, but I did not feel quite right in June. July came around and we did take a 3-week family vacation. We went to visit family and then we went to Hilton Head Island where we really did have a great vacation and I was able to participate in everything that we did and I had energy and I was able to have some cocktails and run on the beach. And so I would say that July was a pretty decent month. The only symptom I would say that lingered a bit was the taste. That taste was in my mouth a little bit here and there. It would come and go. And it was a little disconcerting because I really wasn't sure why that was happening. That really wasn't a symptom that I had had before, especially one that lingered for quite as long as it did. Then this gets me to the end of July and we are leaving Hilton Head Island and it is just a cluster getting out of there. Flights are getting canceled, delays, all kinds of things. There are tons of people at the airport. So I of course, I mask at the airport. I mask on the airplanes. I always have. I will probably continue to do so. My husband decided not to mask. It was a really long day. It was a really stressful with the flights being canceled and delays and all of those things. It was really hot. He didn't wear a mask. I didn't really push the issue. We did not end up sitting together on the plane because of when the cancellations happened, we just were separated. So we get back on a Saturday and on Monday, he tells me that he's a little congested. I said, well, you have to test yourself. We were around a ton of people at the airports. So guess what? What do you guys think? Of course, he tested positive for COVID. So immediately we quarantined him. We took all the precautions necessary. And by some grace of God, or I have no idea, I did not get COVID. And it was not one of those situations where I had symptoms or I had flares and I just didn't test positive. I had absolutely zero symptoms. I actually felt really good that week. I did test myself several times just in case an asymptomatic case, but I mean, me being asymptomatic seems like a joke because I mean, I always have symptoms when I have COVID. But anyway, I did test, and me and my 2 boys never tested positive, and none of us had symptoms. So that was pretty amazing because that's the first time where I have been directly exposed by someone in my family and I had no symptoms at all. So right now we are in the beginning of September. I have been feeling back to pretty much baseline. I would say baseline meaning baseline before this last infection. So how I was feeling in most of spring. I am pretty much back to that, back to my regular workout routine, working, school, all of those things. So the little moral of that story is, first of all, if you are exposed, don't freak out. There is a possibility that you might not get it. I never imagined that I would be in a car, sleeping in the same bed with someone who was COVID positive and not get it. But we did catch it really probably very quickly, but I was still around him. I mean, after he'd been exposed. So that's number 1. And number 2 is I think it is still important to take precautions. I am not what you would call an avid mask wearer. I'm not wearing masks all the time, but I do really try to assess my situation. And being in an airport and being around a bunch of people in an airplane, I'm just not taking those risks. And I think maybe for the rest of my life, like I don't want to get any illnesses. People are very close to one another in those situations. You're around a lot of different people. So I would say that precautions still matter and that you can still protect yourself. Unfortunately, as you guys know, I'm just not in a case to be completely isolated. I have children, I am working, I do things with my kids in the community. So, I mean, I don't really have that same luxury, but when I do and when I can, I really do try to protect myself. So that is the lesson. Make sure your spouse wears the mask. Okay. Moving on, I had someone contact me who was injured by the vaccine, and he introduced me to what's called augmented NAC. So it is a new version of NAC that supposedly is much more effective in detoxing the spike protein than the original NAC. So I did buy a bottle. I have started it. Per his recommendation, I'm taking it every other day. He started taking it once a day and he had a pretty bad Herx reaction, dizziness, lightheadedness, nausea, that kind of stuff. I've only taken it 3 times. I haven't really noticed anything yet. I also don't really know that I'm dealing with any spike, but I think it's just good to have in hand if you get exposed or for possible reinfection. So I will put the link in the description below if you would like to look that up and see if that's something you'd be interested in. Next, speaking of vaccine injuries, I do just want to draw a little attention that when I reflect back, I mean, I was vaccine injured, and I've always been very upfront and honest about that. I think at one point someone didn't see that in one of my videos and questioned me about it. And, you know, I've always been very forthcoming that that is part of the story. It is not the complete story, but it is part of the story. And I do see people in the group still asking about if they should get vaccinated with new vaccines coming out. And I would just say that I would be very, very careful about considering getting vaccinated. There are studies that are coming out right now that are showing that natural immunity is way better than vaccine-induced immunity, and actually that in some cases, people that have had more vaccinations are more likely to get COVID. These are just studies that I've read. I will honestly try to pull them up and put links in the description below. Dr. John Campbell is someone that has done a few videos on this stuff, so look him up. He is extremely educational and provides really, really good information. I don't want to say warning, but just to be really careful about what your situation is, because I will never get another COVID vaccine. I mean, unless there is some miracle that comes out that you cannot ever get COVID again, but I really doubt that that will ever happen. I personally will never get one again. That doesn't mean that everyone should follow that advice, but I would just be really, really careful and look into the studies and the information that is now coming out about the vaccines. And lastly, I have a good friend right now. His name is John. He is doing plasma apheresis. He fought really, really hard to get it approved here in the US. He has had a lot of ups and downs through this journey, and he is currently right now in the hospital. He's doing a 10-day stay. He's getting 5 treatments. He's getting his 2nd treatment today. And that is something where I am going to have him come on, and I really want to talk about plasma apheresis. I've never done it. I don't really know people that have done that one. There's so many different forms of apheresis, like HELP, and ones that really like the EBOO. I think that's very low level compared to plasma apheresis, but there's all kinds of different types. But I want to have him on and talk about his journey and see if this is a potential treatment that can help long haulers and help his symptoms. He's been dealing with symptoms since November of 2020. After seeing a Dr. Bean video of this being a successful surgery for a patient that was vaccine injured, so you can also check that out. Dr. Bean has a ton of videos also, but a vaccine injured patient did plasma apheresis and noticed that it was beneficial and helpful for him. So John went ahead and he fought to get it approved. His insurance is paying for it. He is again in the hospital for 10 days getting the treatment right now. So I wish him nothing but success, and I'm excited to bring his story to all of you because again, this is a treatment I haven't done and don't have much familiarity with, and it will be interesting to see how that works out for him and if it's a potential treatment for the future for other long haulers. So on that note, I feel like I gave you a lot of info, kind of a long update today, but I did want to touch base with you guys again. I am doing well. I'm crossing my fingers as we go into the winter cold and flu season. So I hope you guys are well. Take precautions. I just want you guys to know that there is always hope. I see people improving all the time. I am one of those stories myself where I have improved greatly and I'm doing really well. And so please keep searching for answers. Listen to your intuition. And again, I will be back. I promise. And you guys, peace for now.
Smash the like button and subscribe.